The news had spread quickly across the globe, sending waves of shock and awe through the British royal family and the public alike. Buckingham Palace, the heart of the British monarchy, stood still as a profound and unexpected event unfolded behind its grand ivy-clad walls. It was a moment none could have predicted, a moment that would alter the future of the monarchy in ways no one could foresee. It was the day Prince William, the Duke of Cambridge, read aloud the late Queen Elizabeth II's last will. Before we start, smash the like and subscribe buttons for more updates. The atmosphere at Buckingham Palace that morning was laden with both somberness and anticipation. The passing of Queen Elizabeth had left a profound emptiness, and her funeral just days before had been an event that brought the nation to its knees. It was a time of mourning, but also a time for the royal family to reflect on their next steps, their legacy, and the future of the monarchy. Everyone knew that the royal family was stepping into uncharted waters, and the process of settling Queen Elizabeth's affairs was expected to be smooth, respectful, and dignified. But little did anyone know that the contents of her last will and testament would rock the very foundation of the monarchy. Prince William, the eldest son of Prince Charles and now second in line to the throne, had always been considered a steady and capable leader. His public image was one of calmness, responsibility, and devotion to duty. He had been groomed for his future role, his every move watched and analyzed by the public. Yet no one could have prepared him for the responsibility that lay ahead that fateful day when he opened the envelope containing the Queen's final wishes. The atmosphere in Buckingham Palace that morning was thick with tension as the family gathered in the royal study, a room that had witnessed many crucial decisions over the centuries. As Prince William read out the first few lines, the room fell silent. The Queen's voice, even in her absence, seemed to reverberate through the walls. Her words were direct but filled with emotion, revealing a side of her personality that few had ever seen. It was not just a list of assets and formalities, but a heartfelt message, a reflection of a life lived under the scrutiny of the world. The contents of the will were a mix of personal and official decisions, but one particular line stood out, one that would leave everyone in the room stunned. Queen Elizabeth had named Prince William as the one to hold the power to decide the future of the monarchy. While it had always been assumed that Prince Charles, as the heir apparent, would inherit the throne, the Queen's will was far from ordinary. She had left behind a legacy of decision-making that entrusted Prince William with a greater role than anyone had expected. The Queen had written that, in the event of Prince Charles's abdication or failure to ascend to the throne, it would be Prince William who would assume the mantle of leadership. It was a bold and unexpected move, one that sent ripples of shock through the royal family. Prince William's hands trembled slightly as he read the words aloud. His voice remained steady, but his heart raced with a mix of astonishment and responsibility. The Queen had left her legacy in his hands, and now he was faced with a choice no one had anticipated. The room was filled with silent gasps, and even the most composed members of the royal family seemed momentarily stunned. Prince Charles, who had spent decades preparing for his own coronation, was visibly taken aback. His face, usually so composed, showed the strain of a man who had just been confronted with an unexpected turn of events. The contents of the will continued to unfold, revealing more surprising details. The Queen had also specified that certain personal items, some of which were deeply sentimental, would be passed on to Prince William. These were not just artifacts of her reign, but personal mementos from a life she had lived in the public eye for over 70 years. Among them was a collection of handwritten letters, intimate notes to her family, and mementos from the countless trips she had made as monarch. It was clear that the Queen had always regarded Prince William as someone who would carry on her legacy, and these personal items were a reflection of that trust. What truly shocked everyone, however, were the Queen's words regarding her relationship with Prince Charles. The will was filled with subtle yet telling references to their strained relationship over the years. The Queen had always been the embodiment of duty, but in her final moments, she had expressed her concerns about the future of the monarchy under her son's leadership. She had been a strong monarch, but she had also been a mother, and her words revealed the weight of her worries. It became apparent that the Queen had seen her son's leadership style as less suited for the modern monarchy. Perhaps due to his long tenure of preparation and the political landscape that had shifted dramatically during her reign. It was a delicate and unspoken truth that only Prince William could fully comprehend. As the family absorbed the contents of the will, it became clear that the ramifications would be profound. The Queen's decision was a signal that the monarchy could not simply continue on autopilot. The world was changing, and the royal family needed to evolve with it. Prince William, with his blend of traditionalism and modern sensibility, was seen as the future of the monarchy, a monarch who could bridge the gap between the old and the new. The decisions that had been made in that room, those first moments after reading the Queen's last wishes, would set the course for the future of the crown. There was a quiet tension in the room as Prince Charles, though visibly disappointed, understood the gravity of the Queen's decisions. He had always known that his mother was a woman of extraordinary strength and conviction. Her final will was not just a testament to her reign, but a reflection of her deep understanding of the monarchy's place in the modern world. It was a message to her son and to the royal family as a whole that the monarchy must remain a symbol of unity and strength in an ever-changing world. Prince William, despite the overwhelming weight of his new responsibilities, stood tall. He knew that the path ahead would be one filled with challenges, but he also understood the importance of his role. His heart was heavy with the knowledge that he now had to navigate a monarchy that had been altered by his grandmother's final wishes. The bond between him and his family was about to undergo a dramatic transformation, and the world would be watching every move. The day would go down in history as one of the most significant moments in the British monarchy's modern era. It was a day when Queen Elizabeth, even after her death, made her voice heard. She had left behind a legacy of grace, duty, and resilience, but she had also made it clear that the monarchy was not a static institution. It was a living entity that had to adapt to the times. The royal family, for better or worse, would never be the same again. As the day drew to a close, the palace seemed to sigh under the weight of the events that had transpired. The royal family, though deeply shaken by the Queen's final decision, began to come to terms with the reality of the situation. There was no turning back now. Prince William would be the one to lead them into the future. The monarch's final will had set the course, and there was no turning away from the destiny she had set in motion. For the British public, the news was a mixture of admiration and disbelief. The monarch's final wishes had caused a stir, but they had also reaffirmed the legacy of Queen Elizabeth. Her decision to trust Prince William with the future of the monarchy was seen as a sign of strength, a demonstration of her commitment to ensuring the monarchy remained relevant in an ever-changing world. As the royal family emerged from the shadows of grief and uncertainty, one thing was certain: the monarchy was entering a new era, one shaped by the bold decisions of Queen Elizabeth II. The implications of Queen Elizabeth II's last will reverberated throughout the entire British royal family, but the true extent of the changes became clearer with each passing day. As the royal family began to digest the unexpected decision regarding Prince William's role in the future of the monarchy, the world outside Buckingham Palace was closely watching every development. Media outlets from across the globe descended on the royal residence, eager for any scrap of information about the Queen's final wishes. The story of the will became not only a matter of royal duty, but also a deeply personal one, as it exposed a family dynamic that had long been veiled behind a curtain of public appearances and ceremonial traditions. Prince William, for the first time in his life, was not just standing at the precipice of leadership, he was thrust into the very heart of it. His destiny had been sealed not by a crown or by birthright alone, but by the personal decision of his grandmother. The weight of the responsibility was immense. Though he had been raised to assume a key role in the monarchy, no one could have predicted that it would come under such dramatic circumstances. His entire life had been built around a sense of duty, but now that duty would test him in ways he had never imagined. Buckingham Palace, traditionally a symbol of royal continuity, became a battleground of sorts in the days following the will's revelation. Every word, every decision made by the royal family was scrutinized. The public's reaction to the Queen's wishes was mixed. Some viewed it as a visionary step, while others questioned the wisdom of bypassing Prince Charles in favor of his son. The media was abuzz with speculation, and every royal insider, whether confirmed or anonymous, seemed eager to add fuel to the fire. In private, the royal family's initial reaction was one of stunned silence. It was not merely the contents of the will that were shocking, it was the underlying message of the Queen's decision. For decades, Prince Charles had been the heir apparent. He had waited patiently for his turn, weathered public criticism, and navigated the complexities of royal life with the knowledge that one day the crown would be his. But now, Queen Elizabeth's will had cast a shadow over his future. It was not the abdication of the throne that concerned him, but the deeply personal nature of the Queen's decision to pass over him in favor of his son, Prince William. The question of why Queen Elizabeth had made such a decision lingered in the royal household. Prince Charles had always been seen as the natural successor, yet his relationship with the monarchy had always been a complicated one. His personal life, his marriage to Diana Spencer and subsequent divorce, had been a source of public scrutiny that many believed had affected his ability to lead. Though he had shown resilience, it was clear that his reputation was far from flawless. Perhaps the Queen had seen this as an opportunity for a fresh start, an opportunity for the monarchy to reconnect with the public and regain the trust that had, at times, been shaken by scandal and controversy. In the days that followed, Prince William found himself at the center of a delicate balancing act. As a new chapter in the monarchy began to unfold, he had to ensure that he honored his grandmother's wishes while maintaining the delicate relationships within his own family. He was now more than just a future king. He was a bridge between the past and the future, between tradition and modernity. The world would be watching as he stepped into this new role, and the pressure on him was immense. Despite the monumental task ahead, Prince William was resolute. He knew that the decision was not just about him, it was about the survival of the monarchy itself. Queen Elizabeth had seen the monarchy's role in society as evolving, and she had entrusted him with the responsibility of guiding it into the future. The monarchy, after all, had survived centuries of political upheavals, wars, and scandals. It had been a symbol of strength and continuity in times of uncertainty. But now, in the 21st century, the monarchy had to adapt to a rapidly changing world. The Queen's decision to place the future of the crown in Prince William's hands was, in a sense, a declaration that the monarchy could no longer afford to simply exist. It had to evolve. Meanwhile, Prince Charles struggled to come to terms with the new reality. Despite his years of preparation, despite the expectations that had surrounded him for so long, he now found himself sidelined in a way he had never anticipated. His bond with his mother had always been one of mutual respect, but this decision cast a shadow over that relationship. There was a sense of betrayal, though it was never openly expressed. Instead, Prince Charles withdrew into himself, grappling with the complex emotions that such a public slight could elicit. He was no stranger to adversity, but this was a challenge unlike any other. His role in the monarchy had been defined by years of waiting, and now that he was on the cusp of assuming the throne, he found that the crown might not be his to claim after all. The tension within the royal family was palpable, and it was not just between Prince Charles and his son. Queen Elizabeth's decision had a ripple effect that spread through every member of the family. Prince Harry, who had been living in exile with his wife Meghan in the United States, found himself drawn back into the royal fold. The media frenzy surrounding the will and the future of the monarchy reignited discussions about Harry's place within the royal family. There were whispers about whether he, too, might play a larger role in the future of the monarchy, or if his status as a distant relative meant that he would remain in the background. The scrutiny was overwhelming, but for Prince William, the pressure was compounded by his own desire to protect his family. Kate Middleton, his wife, became a crucial ally as they both navigated the storm. The couple knew that the decisions they made in the coming weeks would shape the monarchy for generations to come. The Queen had entrusted them with a vision of what the future could look like, and it was now their responsibility to fulfill that vision, even if it meant confronting the difficult and often painful realities of the royal family's internal dynamics. As the days passed, the royal family gathered privately to discuss the implications of the Queen's will. The discussions were intense, emotional, and at times uncomfortable. There was an undeniable tension in the air, and each family member had to wrestle with their own sense of identity and place within the institution. It was clear that Queen Elizabeth's death had left a void, not just in terms of leadership, but in terms of the personal bonds that had held the family together for so many years. Now, the family would have to come to terms with the fact that the monarchy would be reshaped in ways they had not anticipated. For Prince William, the road ahead was uncertain, but he was determined to face it head on. His grandmother's last will had thrust him into the spotlight, but it had also given him an opportunity to redefine what the monarchy could be. He was no longer just a prince waiting for the crown. He was now the future king, with all the responsibilities that entailed. The weight of the Queen's trust was immense, but it was not something he would shy away from. His leadership would not be about maintaining the status quo, it would be about leading the monarchy into a new era, one that balanced tradition with modernity. As time went on, the public began to understand the magnitude of Queen Elizabeth's final decision. The monarchy was no longer a static institution tied to ancient customs and rituals. It was an evolving entity, responsive to the needs and desires of the people it served. Prince William's role as the future king had been solidified, but it was now a role that came with immense challenges. He would have to navigate a delicate balance of public expectations, family dynamics, and global scrutiny. Yet, in his heart, he knew that he had been given a tremendous opportunity. His grandmother had entrusted him with the future of the monarchy, and it was a responsibility he was prepared to embrace. And so, as the years went by, the world watched Prince William rise to the occasion. His leadership was marked not by grand displays of power, but by a quiet determination to serve the people. Queen Elizabeth's last will had set the stage for a new era, and under Prince William's guidance, the monarchy adapted to the challenges of a rapidly changing world. The crown that had once seemed so distant to him was now within his grasp, and he wore it not with the weight of a legacy, but with the hope of a future that would honor the past while embracing the possibilities of tomorrow. The monarchy had survived centuries of challenges, and with Prince William at the helm, it would continue to endure. But it was Queen Elizabeth's final wish that had truly set the course for this new chapter. In her absence, she had left behind not just a crown, but a vision for the future. And with that vision, Prince William stepped forward, ready to lead the monarchy into the next phase of its storied history. As the months passed, the initial shock surrounding Queen Elizabeth II's final will began to settle, and with it came an undeniable sense of transformation in Buckingham Palace. Prince William, who had once been seen as the dutiful grandson, was now the heir apparent in the eyes of many, despite the fact that his father, Prince Charles, was still technically the next in line. The news of Queen Elizabeth's last wishes had set in motion a series of changes, both subtle and dramatic, that would shape the future of the British monarchy. Behind closed doors, conversations that had previously been filled with tradition and ceremony began to shift toward more candid discussions about the future, about how the royal family could evolve, and how Prince William would guide it through an ever-changing world. In many ways, the Queen's decision had cast a shadow over Prince Charles's long-held dreams. For decades, he had prepared for the moment when he would be crowned King of England. As the eldest son, it had been his birthright, his destiny. And yet, in her final moments, Queen Elizabeth had made it clear that the monarchy could no longer afford to follow the same path. There were whispers, some coming from within the royal circle and some from outsiders, that the Queen had witnessed her son's struggles in the public eye and had concerns about his ability to unify the nation. Whether or not these whispers were based on fact, they painted a portrait of a monarch who, even in her final days, was concerned about the long-term health of the crown. The decision, while still shrouded in layers of emotion and unspoken tension, became a turning point for the royal family. Prince Charles, despite the disappointment he surely felt, understood that his mother's decision was not one made in haste. It was a reflection of the complex dynamics that had shaped her reign. Her commitment to tradition, her desire to keep the monarchy relevant, and her understanding that the royal family must not be viewed as an institution bound to the past, but one that could still capture the imagination of the future. With this new reality now in front of him, Prince Charles, as well as other members of the family, would be forced to reassess their roles and expectations. Despite the potential rifts that the Queen's will had created, there were signs of unity within the royal family as well. Prince William, though burdened with the enormity of the task set before him, felt a deep sense of duty to continue the legacy of his grandmother. As the days went on, he worked tirelessly to strengthen his position within the royal family while acknowledging the delicate nature of the changes that were taking place. The role of monarch, though never a position to be taken lightly, was now viewed in a new light. It was clear that for the monarchy to remain relevant, it would have to balance the grandeur of its history with the practical demands of a world that was more interconnected and rapidly changing than ever before. The initial steps toward greater transparency were small but significant. Prince William authorized the release of previously unseen photographs of the royal family at more casual moments, breaking the illusion of their detached, regal existence. Public engagements, which had traditionally been reserved for formal occasions, began to include more personal interactions with the people, allowing the royal family to show a more relatable side of themselves. For many, this marked the beginning of a shift, a subtle but noticeable change in how the monarchy engaged with the public. Prince William also worked to modernize the monarchy's charitable efforts. He recognized that in today's world, the royal family's influence could be used not just for ceremonial purposes, but to raise awareness for causes that needed attention. He and Kate became champions for mental health advocacy, an area they had both long been passionate about, and they took steps to bring the monarchy closer to organizations and movements that aimed to address pressing social issues. Their focus on mental health helped to redefine the image of the royal family from a distant symbol of authority to a modern force for good. Of course, Prince William was not without his detractors. Critics, both within the press and the royal circle, questioned his willingness to break from the traditions that had sustained the monarchy for centuries. There were concerns that his efforts to modernize the royal family could strip away the mystique and respect that the institution had commanded. Some royal experts argued that the monarchy's role was not to be a trendsetter, but rather to serve as a steady, unchanging anchor in the turbulent waters of political and social life. For those who believed that the royal family's strength lay in its historical reverence, Prince William's push for modernization was seen as a threat to the very foundations of the crown. Yet for every critic, there were many supporters who believed that Prince William's approach was exactly what the monarchy needed. They saw him as a bridge between the old world and the new, someone who could preserve the traditions of the past while ensuring that the royal family remained relevant in an increasingly diverse and dynamic society. These supporters believed that Queen Elizabeth's last will had set the monarchy on a new path, one that embraced both the past and the future. While Prince William navigated the challenges of leadership and modernization, his father, Prince Charles, faced his own internal struggle. Though he had accepted the will and its implications with as much grace as he could muster, the deep-seated emotions that came with the Queen's decision could not be ignored. In private, Prince Charles grappled with a sense of loss, not just for the throne he had long dreamed of, but also for the personal connection he had shared with his mother. The years of sacrifice, the public service, the challenges of being first in line and yet never quite reaching the top, they had all culminated in this unexpected shift. Despite this, Prince Charles was not a man to wallow in self-pity. He recognized the reality of the situation, and as a seasoned member of the royal family, knew that the monarchy had always been bigger than any one individual. Behind closed doors, there were moments of candid conversations between Prince William and his father. It was a relationship that had always been built on respect, but now it was one that had to navigate the complexities of their shared future. Prince William understood the weight of the change, and he never took for granted the sacrifices his father had made throughout his life. In these conversations, it became clear that the royal family was not only adapting to external pressures, but also working through their internal dynamics, figuring out how to move forward without undermining the very foundation upon which they stood. One of the most poignant moments in the weeks following the Queen's passing came when Prince William and Prince Charles attended a service at St. George's Chapel at Windsor Castle. The occasion was not just a memorial for the Queen, but a statement about the future of the monarchy. As the two men walked together, side by side, a sense of unity and resolve filled the air. They knew that their shared history, their bond as father and son, and their commitment to the monarchy would be key to navigating the challenges ahead. It was in these moments that both men understood that, Despite the complexities and uncertainties, the monarchy was still very much a family institution, a family bound by duty, history, and a shared vision for the future. Over time, the royal family settled into their new roles, each person contributing to the monarchy in their own way. Prince Charles, though initially sidelined by the Queen's will, found his own purpose in the work that was still expected of him. He focused on the causes that had always been close to his heart, from environmental conservation to charity work, and he continued to represent the crown at key events. His influence, though not the same as it had been before, remained significant. For Prince William and Kate, their responsibilities grew as the monarchy adapted to its new role. As the couple embraced their responsibilities, their sense of duty and connection to the public deepened. They became the face of the modern monarchy, connecting with the people in a way that was both personal and powerful. Through their efforts, the royal family's popularity surged, and they became symbols of hope, change, and unity in a world that often seemed divided. As the years rolled on, the legacy of Queen Elizabeth II endured in subtle and profound ways. Her final will had been a catalyst for change, setting in motion a new era for the monarchy, one that would forever be shaped by her wisdom, foresight, and love for her family. Prince William, now firmly established as the future king, carried the mantle with grace, strength, and an unwavering commitment to the values she had instilled in him. Together with Kate, he led the monarchy into a new age, where the past and the future could coexist in harmony, and where the crown, though changed, remained a symbol of the enduring spirit of the British people. As Prince William settled into his new role, it became evident that the changes set in motion by Queen Elizabeth's last will would not only affect the immediate family dynamics, but also the way the monarchy interacted with the wider world. Public engagement became a key aspect of his leadership. The royal family, under his guidance, moved towards a more inclusive and visible role in British society, while still maintaining the dignity and tradition that had always defined their presence. Prince William's efforts to make the monarchy more relatable to the public continued to evolve, especially with his focus on modern issues such as climate change, social inequality, and the mental health crisis. His efforts were not always well received, particularly by those in the royal establishment who held firmly to the traditional values of the monarchy. For centuries, the British monarchy had been a symbol of unyielding tradition, and for many, the modernizing steps taken by Prince William seemed like a break from that legacy. However, William's deep understanding of public sentiment and his genuine desire to create a monarchy that was both forward-thinking and compassionate helped to win over even some of his harshest critics. His approach was measured, never sacrificing tradition, but embracing the idea that in order to remain relevant, the monarchy had to show that it was not isolated from the realities of modern life. One of the most remarkable aspects of Prince William's reign was his emphasis on the power of unity, especially in times of national and global crises. During the COVID-19 pandemic, Prince William, alongside Kate, used their platform to lead by example. They publicly supported vaccination campaigns and worked closely with health organizations to encourage safety and solidarity. Their visible commitment to supporting the national health response gave the monarchy a newfound relevance in an era that was fraught with challenges. The pandemic proved to be a defining moment for the monarchy, and through their leadership, William and Kate demonstrated that the royal family could be a beacon of hope and resilience, rather than a symbol of privilege and isolation. As time passed, Prince William's approach to leadership increasingly reflected Queen Elizabeth's values of service, duty, and compassion. He became more attuned to the needs of the public, acknowledging the changing landscape of the British Empire and the global challenges that lay ahead. His bond with his younger brother, Prince Harry, also grew stronger despite their earlier rifts. The tensions between Harry and the royal family, which had once dominated headlines, slowly began to fade as both brothers found common ground in their shared purpose to serve the people of the United Kingdom and the Commonwealth. If you like this video, please give it a like and subscribe to our channel. Also, leave your comments below and tell us, what are your thoughts on Prince William reading Queen Elizabeth's last will? We want to hear from you. Thank you for watching, and see you next time.